Hello guys, this is Ibrahim back with another video for Off the Canvas Boxing. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button, follow me on social media. Link is in the description box below, Twitter, Instagram, the whole shebang, alright? But guys, I'm telling you, 2021 is going to be mad, yeah? First, 2020, first and foremost, yeah, like had an amazing fight there, and I decided, you know what? Let's do an award ceremony, yeah? Hence the attire, okay? We didn't want to, you know, go in casually. We wanted to dress up a little bit. I know it's tier 4, but let's pretend like this is a proper, you know, thing, right? So let's get straight into this. We have a 2020 Off the Canvas Award ceremony, all right? They have many categories. We put our poll on Instagram, and a lot of you guys came in with your sort of votes and things that you guys, nominees that you guys wanted me to include, etc. So we put them all together and the votes have come in. And if you guys follow me on social media, on Instagram in particular, so that you get all of these sort of updates. But let's get straight into the first category. So we have the best fight of 2020. So the first fight is Terry Harper versus Natasha Jonas. That was a huge fight in the UK, in the Matchroom bubble, Matchroom Square Garden, and literally for me, like, this was probably the best, I would say best women's fight I've seen in a while, since Delphi Pazun and Katie Taylor in Madison Square Garden. But for me, this was absolutely immense. Like, it was back and forth. One round Terry Harper, another round Natasha Jonas. It was neck and neck. The skill, masterful, yeah? First nominee, Natasha Jonas, Terry Harper. We also have Leo Santa Cruz versus Tank Davis, Javante Tank Davis. And this fight, for me, I think it was at the same time as Dillian White or something. No, it was a Derek Chisora, that was it. It was Derek Chisora, Alexander Usyk. And for me, like, after that sort of damaging defeat, I didn't want to watch this fight. And this was a big regret of mine. I went back and watched the fight, and it was a clinical performance by Javante Tank Davis, and for me that really cemented him in the lightweight division. I'm telling you, like, once I saw that knockout, it was like, wow, that's a heavyweight knockout for little man, yeah? That was like, I was thinking, fam, like, I knew he had power, but that was on another level of power. That was like Deontay Wilder-esque power. Alright, speaking of Deontay Wilder, we also have the Deontay Wilder versus the Tyson Fury February fight. Okay, that was a rematch from the first fight that happened a couple of years ago, when Tyson Fury came back from his sort of 2.5-year stint with alcohol abuse, cocaine, the whole shebang. The rematch in particular, like with Deontay Wilder, like, I'm not gonna lie, the whole surroundings of it, the American fight singing at the end. You get, like, literally, like, this fight is another nominee as well. We also have Vasyl Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. This fight was like, nobody gave Teofimo Lopez any chance. This guy was going in as a 3-1 underdog with the bookies. I think he was undercut in terms of the price, the wages, but, like, for me, like, Teofimo Lopez showed his tenacity, he showed his ability, he fought in there, and he surprised us all with his strength and his skill level, his defense, his movement. Vasyl Lomachenko really underperformed in that fight as well, but Vasyl Lomachenko coming from a very high standard, him dropping a slight tad bit and Teofimo Lopez raising his standings slight higher, it meant that he just about got it over the line. If that was Lomachenko a little bit better that night without no quote-unquote injury, or the sharpness was at 100%, for me, Lomachenko would have won that night. But Teofimo Lopez, I'm telling you, he's a force to be reckoned with in the division, and for me, I have him right up there in the top. And yeah, that gives it for fight of the year. So we put it out to a poll on my Instagram story, and the winner of the fight of the year 2020 goes to Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Okay, congratulations to both of them, to be fair, for giving us a large display and, you know, coming together and actually fighting each other. So I'm really excited about that. But next category, we have best female fighter of the year, and the first nominee is Clarissa Shields. Now, Clarissa Shields, of course, earlier in January, I think January 2020, won the vacant WBO or WBC title, one of those two titles. She won 2 belts that was vacant as well, and it was in a convincing fashion as well. And Clarissa Shields, like, I remember that was earlier in January, and like a lot of people say, wow, like she's the quote. She went on tour afterwards to celebrate that fight, and I'm telling you, like, onwards and upwards. I can't wait for her in the next fight. We also have in the nominations Terry Harper, amazing performance in 2020. Of course, she had a draw against Natasha Jonas, which I believe that she lost that fight slightly, but then came back afterwards and had a convincing win. Okay, I can't pronounce her opponent's name, so I'm not even gonna bother, but she had a great 2020. We also have a Rachel Ball, similar to Terry Harper, which I believe that she lost slightly to Shannon Courtney. However, for me, like, she had a great, amazing performance. Like, I think it was like a final eliminator for the WBA women's title. So like, it was an amazing performance against her opponent, and like, great 2020 for Rachel Ball, coming out of nowhere, social worker, humble beginnings, but I'm really happy for her and really can't wait to see her progress. And the next fight, hopefully that's the rematch against Shannon Courtney. All right, moving swiftly on, we have Katie Taylor defending her world titles, like, with, I would say, for me, one of her best ever performances skill wise in her career. Amazing performance. Her opponent was a very formidable fighter, very durable, very tough. Great opponent for Katie Taylor. And I'm telling you, Katie Taylor next year, you want to see the big fights. You want to see Jessica McCaskill and etc. All of the other fights. Chantal Cameron wants a piece of her. You know, the list goes on and on and on for Katie Taylor. Okay, so that's Katie Taylor, Terry Harper, Clarissa Shields, and Rachel Ball. Okay, put it out to the poll, and I can confirm that the winner of this, okay, surprisingly, okay, well, not really surprisingly, because the popularity, of course, is Katie Taylor, okay, the female fighter from Ireland. You know, like for me, it was one of her greatest performances of her career so far. Of course, all of the other fighters, well, some of them fought twice. One of the fights was questionable and the other fights was convincing, whereas Katie Taylor's solo fight was better than all of these other ones from a individual's perspective. Never seen Katie Taylor like that, and it was refreshing to see. Okay, so big up Katie Taylor, okay, for the Women's Fighter of the Year 2020. Now, the Men's Fighter of the Year 2020. Okay, we have four nominees for all of the categories. And for the Men's Fighter of the Year, we have Tyson Fury. Okay, we also have Teofimo Lopez. We also have Lyndon Arthur. Okay, a lot of people are surprised because for me, like, his performance with one hand, immaculate. Okay, and we also have Canelo Alvarez. Okay, so let's start with Canelo Alvarez. He put in a great performance against Callum Smith. Callum Smith has been a very formidable opponent, world champion in himself, #1 Ring magazine in the WB in the super middleweight division. Very formidable opponent, and the way he dismantled him with ease, he's up there for Fighter of the Year because of the sheer ability of beating a very high level opponent with ease, similar to how Fury done it, but Fury done it in a more convincing fashion. Okay, speaking about Fury, we spoke about him earlier. Great performance against John Zivard, and also Teofimo Lopez, an amazing performance against Vasyl Lomachenko, who a lot of people touted to be in and around the top 3 pound for pound. Some people even put him as a #1. Okay, that's how highly rated he was, and the fact that he convincingly beat him, hats off to him as well. Okay, Lyndon Arthur put in a great performance against Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde, prior to that, had a world title shot against Sergey Kovalev, and was like, people touted to be like on that level. Okay, world title level, world championship level, and people didn't even give Lyndon Arthur a hope in prayer. So for me, like, to even, similar to how Teofimo Lopez didn't get a chance, is similar to Lyndon Arthur not even getting an opportunity or even a look into beat Anthony Yarde, okay? And he won with one hand. You're making my list, my brother, okay? And we put it out to poll to the audience. You know, a lot of people voted, etc. This one was probably one of the most popular votes, and it was neck and neck, like this previous fight, Jacob Lopez and Tyson Fury, okay? And the winner for that fight, fighter of the year is Teofimo Lopez, okay? Teofimo Lopez won this just about against Tyson Fury. Although Tyson Fury had a great fight against Deontay Wilder, people saw the achievement of Lopez a lot more higher, because people were like, especially prior to it with the odds, etc., an amazing performance as well, okay? Now, this one is, a lot of people won't be doing this, but I'm doing this, okay? Promoter of the year. Now, we incurred for the pandemic, and a lot of the shows, a lot of the big shows with audience, with stadium, arenas, was all cancelled. So it was a chance for promoters to be creative, okay? It was a chance for promoters to look at different avenues, explore social media, and and show what they can do without the crowd, without the fan, and without that sort of leg up, okay? We have as the nominees, okay? Now, I think there's really 4 giants in the sport of boxing with regards to promotional companies or promoters, shall we say, and it's sort of the big 4, okay? Similar to how heavyweights is the big 4, this one is the big 4. The 4 nominees for promoter of the year are, in at number 1 we have Frank Warren. He decided to do his shows behind closed doors, okay, in the BT studio. Promotion for this one wasn't the best, but he was putting great fights against other good fighters as well, okay? And what I noticed about Frank Warren as well this year, he decided to break through a lot of youth. So when you see a lot of the shows that he was putting on, it was a lot of young prospects, a lot of young fighters coming through. David Adelaide being an example, Louis Lin being an example as well. Multiple other examples as well, in the Frank Warren camp as well. So production level wasn't the best in the beginning, it was decent, but wasn't the best in the BT studio. Then it even got a little bit worse in the church arena, the community center, don't know what it's called. Music stopped sometimes, lights were a bit, was a bit off, and it wasn't as good as it was. And also, like, we only heard about a few of the fights, like the Yard, the Arthurs, and the Jojo's versus Dubois prior to that fight coming in. But all of his other fights, I barely ever heard anyone who's on that fight. I barely heard anyone who's on the card. So with decent performance, especially he put on the Joe Joyce and Dubois, Anthony Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur. Also was involved in the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder fight. I don't know whether he promoted that fight particular, but I sort of a co-promotion with Bob Arum. He had some involvement in that, so I'm going to have to give him props for that also. Another one, Al Heyman. Al Heyman, like, this year was a very quiet year for him, but he did bring it back in the end with Errol Spence versus the Garcia fight, which was a very good fight. Of course, Errol Spence won that convincingly after being in an accident. Amazing performance from him. What else did they do they had other fights, other sort of like semi-decent fights, but what they do with Al Heyman, and they have like A-level fighters versus E-level fighters or F-level fighters, and the disparity was really good. And I think in the US their approach is, let's have warm-up fights before we have tough opponents. Frank Warren had a really similar mindset as well. Decent year for Al Heyman, but the activity wasn't a lot. It wasn't great at the same time. I didn't really even know of the shows, maybe because I'm in the UK, but promotion wasn't, on point. Moving swiftly on, we have Bob Arum. Now Bob Arum, like, Bob Arum had a funny year, fam. Yeah, his comments after the Terrence Crawford fight. But to be fair, he promoted Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook. Good fight between them. He also promoted Vasyl Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. He also did the Wilder versus Fury fight earlier this year as well. What else did he do? I can't remember what else other fights he did in particular, but those 3 fights were mega fights. 2 of them were Fight of the Year contenders. So for me, like, he's up there in terms of quality, but quantity wasn't as good. He could have did a lot more in terms of promotional material, in terms of social media gathering, in terms of, like, I didn't even know if they even had a YouTube channel. I know they do a lot of things with Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley, but they need to do a bit more. Okay, a little bit more from them. Maybe a couple of more, not huge fight, but like 50-50 bouts with fighters that we know a lot. It doesn't have to be pay-per-view, but fights that, like, we are sort of engaged in. And for me, like, he would be right up there with Eddie Hearn as well. For me, like, Eddie Hearn had a huge, amazing year. He didn't let 2020 and the pandemic affect him. He didn't. He was like I have a book of his upstairs, Relentless. Like, he said, like, you can't, like, let disparity or all of these sort of outside circumstances affect the way you do. You got to keep moving. You got to keep grafting. You got to keep like, believing that what you have and the product that you have is the best on the market. Eddie Hearn got on a lot of huge fights this year. Povetkin versus Dillian White, AJ versus Pule, Usyk versus Derek Chisora. Okay, then he put a classic 50-50 bout. So unlike Frank Warren, a lot of what Eddie and Bob Arum as well, Eddie Hearn decided to do 50-50 bouts between them. Sam Egerton, Ted Cheeseman, Tom Little versus Alan Savage Babbage, even the Dillian White versus Povetkin, 50-50 bouts. Okay, in terms of matchmaking, Eddie Hearn smashes it out the park. And then you put that on top of Matchroom Square Garden. He decided to do fight camp and do shows outdoors and pay money in terms of fireworks, ring walks, like music, like, you know, Richard Larty came up dancing. Like, it was a vibe. Put it out to the audience and poll, and the #1 person, this is a landslide. To be fair, everyone voted for Eddie Hearn. Besides one person voted for Frank Warren. So big up Matchroom, big up, like, Frank Smith, Eddie Hearn, the guys in the team in the US. Huge fights this year in 2020, and great shows, and also great production as well. Like, your music to that cut off, you know, the way there, like, it was all professional. The only sort of hindrance was the fact that maybe they could have did a few more things to engage the younger audience. That's my only criticism. But great things for Matchroom, great stuff for Matchroom Boxing, and I can't wait to see what's in store for 2020. Now, last category, last but not least, we have who had the worst 2020. Who in the boxing industry looks back at 2020 and thinks, you know what, that was horrible year. Oh man, that was a very challenging year. Not even for the pandemic, that was, like, for my career, that was one of the worst years that I could have had. Put in poor performances. I should have did better this year. Okay, we have 4 nominees. Okay, nominee #1, Frank Warren. Shows could have did better, mate. I'm sorry, the shows were like the production level was not 100% on a lot of the shows, especially the ones in the community centre. I know it's a church or something, but I'm gonna call it a community centre. It looks like a community centre to me. Very, like, the production, the music. There was no fire. There was nothing basically. It was like a couple of lights here and there, and it looked like a nursing home. Like, it looked like an old people's home. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they should have amplified it. Like, if I was, maybe York Court could have been a better place to stage the fight. That's just from my perspective. That was that. I didn't enjoy the production anyway. And also the commentary a lot was really biased at those fights. And the reason why we cement this category, or like he gets into this category, his 2 biggest fighters, Anthony Yard, Daniel Dubois as well. both taken huge losses. One back to back. I think it had like a 2 week difference between those two fights, or a week difference. And he was like, yeah, Dad, you know what? Best thing since sliced bread. He's going to beat Dylan White. He's going to give AJ a run for his money. Like, besides, few people tell you that this guy's amazing. Got dismantled by Joe Joyce. Moreover, he then had another fighter with Anthony Yarde, and I was rooting for Anthony Yarde. Lions on the count. I was on this train, yeah, and he was gassing it up. Like, he was talking, he done a proposal for Yarde but Waxy next year for the on like AJ undercard or something like that. I know definitely Frank Warren overlooked Lennon Arthur in this fight. Anthony Yarde came in, also another loss, and he was having a bad year. I know Tyson won this year, so which kind of evens it out, but he nevertheless had a year that he could have did better in. Okay, next nominee we have Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Oh my goodness gracious me, Lord have mercy, this is getting worse and worse and worse. Jarrell Miller, okay, the reason why he's not having a great year in 2020 was because of two huge reasons. Number one, he got banned again and got caught for PEDs. I don't even know if it's PEDs or drugs or whatever it is. He got caught for another time for the same sort of GWH something 16, 15, 19, 20. Yeah, he got caught with that. That's the first thing. Yeah, he then gets banned from Nevada State Athletic Commission for 2 years. He's getting a 2-year ban, and he's probably going to get like a ban across the US for 2 years straight. Additionally, this guy was in an interview. Okay, I don't know who he's done an interview, but it's a great interview this year as well. And he was like, the interviewer ripped him a new one. Like, he was thinking rotted. Yeah, like he got torn a new bumhole. Okay, straight up. And he was like, he couldn't, to the point where he felt like agitated and decided to terminate the interview. You know how mad that is? Like, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, like, he had a bad 2019. This one just about tops shelf. Okay, because you got caught again. Okay, how many times is it? Like, this guy is a walking pharmacist. I'm sorry, Jarrell, man, what's going on, mate? What is going on? I think Eddie Hearn said it best. Something must be going upstairs in the dome. I don't know what's going on between the two ears. I don't know. Like, and also as well, he also got dropped by, I forgot her name, but his manager, the blonde lady. Like, it's peak. It is peak. Nobody wants to promote him. This guy's blacklisted from the team. Okay, mate, you got this guy's a bit better, man. If you're gonna get caught, just say it was me or something. Like, inject yourself. What? Like, let's just carry on. This one, yeah. If this one did it happen, Jarrell Miller will win convincingly. Okay. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Oh my god. Some people say Dr. Wilder, Beyonce Wilder, whatever name Wilder, Bum Squad, whatever you want to call it. Okay. This guy done a video, okay, ridiculing the good for nothing referee and a disloyal trainer. Okay, they had an egg weight form glove. Like, oh my god, fam, listen, brother, yeah, let's just roll the tape.
But my ears can still hear and my eyes can still see. I highly believe you put something hard in your glove, something the size and the shape of an egg weight. Here's the reason why the side of my face swelled up in an egg weight form. In the end, it took a crab in a bucket referee and a disloyal trainer to throw the towel in just to stop me.
So like, this guy, like, honestly, like, I'm not I've done a video about this guy, I'm not gonna get into him, but he had a bad year. bad, yeah. And he confesses to ducking AJ 2 years or 3 years ago. Both Eve's already had a few inside sources. We're not talking about Ketchup and Heinz and them things there. We had the inside information. I'm glad that the outside public all went in on him and gave a lot less stick to Anthony Joshua, which is a fighter that, like, he's probably my favorite fighter of this day and age. Okay, Dosser of the year, like a year that you can't, like, you can only forget, a year that you've got to look past. 2020, like, you got to pretend like this year didn't exist. When your grandkids ask you, brother, what happened in like, grand, what happened in 2020? You're just gonna say 2020, nothing happened. Like, we were locked down, I didn't fight, nothing happened. And the winner of who had the worst year of 2020 is Deontay Wilder, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't even need to say more. We all know what happened. Hopefully 2021 becomes a better year for him and he goes to fight huge fights like the Andy Ruizes of this world, or even a fight against Dana White. You know, that'll be a huge fight for 2021. Hopefully 2021 is good for Deontay Wilder, okay? Thank you very much, guys. This has been your first ever Off the Canvas Boxing Award ceremony of 2020. We've got big things coming in for 2021. If you haven't done already, follow me on social media at Off the Canvas Boxing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Click a like on this video if you haven't done it already, and let me know what you guys think as well. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? We put it onto a few votes, but you know, everyone's got their own different opinions, okay? But peace, love, and prosperity, guys. I'm gonna catch you guys in a bit. Peace.